Hello, Stratters. This is Nick, known as the Exalted One on Magic the Gathering Online. This is my audition to be a new content provider here at MagicGatheringStrat. What I've brought for you to watch today is a little bit of modern. Uh, Here we have Bant Humans. Uh, so, going a few standard seasons back, we had this Bant Collected Company deck that played a lot of really efficient creatures converted to mana cost 3 or less. Cards like Reflector Mage, cards like Spell Queller, cards like Tireless Tracker. But there was an offshoot of that deck that focused on the human subtype. So you still played cards like Reflector Mage, cards like Tireless Tracker, but the real payoff was this card, Thalia's Lieutenant, which makes all your humans a little bit bigger and also gets bigger for each human that you play. So that's where this deck sort of comes from as an idea. When you port it to Modern, you get a few different things. Path to Exile is an efficient removal spell. The standard deck had to play cards like Declaration in Stone, cards like Dromoka's Command, which can be cumbersome if your creatures aren't the right sizing to set up that fight. Uh, Path to Exile is just such an efficient removal spell. You also get some additional lords. So we have here Mayor of Avabruck from the original Innistrad set. Uh, again, just a human lord, helps with consistency. On top of that, you get Noble Hierarch as mana acceleration. Avacyn's Pilgrim kind of playing the backup role of Noble Hierarchs 5 through 6, and Eternal Witness, which is a great card advantage card. Noble Hierarch and Eternal Witness are cards that, other modern decks just play for face value. Noble Hierarch's probably the best mana accelerant in the format, and Eternal Witness is a really nice grindy card advantage card, especially with Collected Company. Just companying into Eternal Witness, getting back your company, is a lot of card advantage and, really helps in attrition matchups. These cards are almost, a little bit gratuitous in a deck that values their human subtype. Being able to collect a company into Eternal Witness, get back your company, but then your Eternal Witness is, 3/2, 4/3. It's just a really relevant body and is even better in this deck. And then you have also Tireless Tracker kind of filling in this grindy card advantage engine card as well. What makes me favor this deck over some of the other options of Collected Company decks in the format is the amount of removal that you get to play. So we already talked about Path to Exile, but Reflector Mage is also kind of like a removal spell. You get to temporarily take a creature, off the board, and if you're beating down, if you're hitting, you take advantage of that tempo, and just the temporary removal can be really advantageous. Similarly, I'm playing Heir of the Wilds in this deck. So it's just a 2/2 Death Touch that happens to be a human, but that's really great in this deck. You can keep attacking no matter what they have. If it blocks, they're going to trade. And if they're the one attacking, you can block with the Heir of the Wilds and get their creature off the board. Um, Especially with being able to do that ambushing with Collected Company, get some other creature, get an air, block their biggest creature, trade. That's exactly what you want, and that extra removal is what really makes me value this particular Collected Company deck over some of the others. If you're playing against something like Death Shadow, you really want to have access to that removal to be able to get those off the board. Going into the mana base, enough fetch lands that we have fetches to work with our Tireless Tracker, lands to get with the fetches, and shocks and basics. A couple Stirring Wildwood just as an extra utility land. Probably the one that kind of sticks out the most here is Moorland Haunt. People would typically imagine that you'd play Gavany Township in a deck like this, and you can. There are definitely metagames where I would play a Gavany Township, but Gavany Township is good at breaking board stalls, breaking these creature mirrors where, everybody's creatures are just kind of looking at each other. You can activate your township a couple times and then start attacking, forcing double blocks to trade, things like that. Moorland Haunt is a little bit better when you want to be, trading and your opponents are expending removal on your creatures. These really help out in matchups like against, Jund or against Grixis control, things like that. And that's kind of where I want to be, at least in the modern format right now. Shifting to the sideboard, with a Collected Company deck, one of the things you need to be cognizant of is how many creatures you have in your deck after sideboard. I really don't like to drop below 25, 26. I start with 28 creatures in the main deck, and so a lot of your a lot of your sideboard options have to be creatures in order to keep this still happening. So we have 3 Kitchen Finks, just like a nice grindy card in the attrition-based matchups, but also a little bit of life gain in the burn matchups. A good blocker against some aggressive creature decks. Our naturalize of choice is Reclamation Sage because it can be hit off the Collected Companies. A couple Meddling Mage, which really help out in the combo matchups. And a similar thing with Eidolon of Rhetoric. So while these aren't humans, Meddling Mage is the only human of these, they're good creatures to hit with your Collected Company, and they interact in the right ways for the matchups where you want to bring them in. Looking at the non-creatures, we have 2 Stony Silence. Affinity is a somewhat rough matchup for this deck. They have a lot of flyers. We really, we have a couple Stirring Wildwood and the spirits off of Moorland Haunt to do that. But we don't have a lot in that regard, so Stony Silence is an important card to have. Negate to again help up against the combo decks that would be casting spells, but also against some of the control decks. A Singular Rest in Peace. I mean, I wish I could fit more in, but this is what we have. And then 2 Tamiyo Field Researcher. And this is maybe a little bit of a speculative card to have, but we need something again against more controlling decks, so decks that have sweepers that can handle our creatures, and this is a good card for that. If I end step Collected Company and they dispel it or negate that, I want to be able to untap and slam a threat, and this card is a good card for that particular job. I could see perhaps maybe playing like a Gideon Ally of Zendikar in this space instead, but I'm going to go with Tamiyo for at least the time being. So this is the deck, Bant Humans, and I will be playing a few matches with it. I hope to see you there at the matches. Hello, Stratters. Welcome to my match. Here I am on the play with Bant Humans in Modern. This looks like a good hand. Have turn 1 Noble Hierarch, turn 2 probably play Mayor of Avabruck, attack with the Noble Hierarch. Assuming the Hierarch lives. And nothing to recur just yet with the Eternal Witness, but I'm sure we'll find either something else to play or something to get back in due time. Okay, so Aether Vial off Hallowed Fountain. It's an interesting development. So this makes me think maybe like a Merfolk deck, splashing white, but I mean, who knows exactly? Could be any number of things, really. I've also seen like some spirits decks that play Aether Vial. Could be something like that. So they're gonna let my mare flip, it looks like, which I'm fairly okay. So path on upkeep. All right. So what do we want to get? I think just a forest is fine. Then I'll play the Tireless Tracker, play a land. Collected Company is also an option. I think I want to get the Tireless Tracker on the board first. Just so we can have some more options. That, and if we hit like a Thalia's Lieutenant off the Collected Company, I'd rather have a little bit more developed of a board before that happens rather than after. Just because like this Noble Hierarch we're gonna probably not need it for mana fairly soon, and making the Tireless Tracker large is kind of one of our priorities. So okay, so 4-color deck with Aether Vial, Filigree Familiar. This is unusual. I've never really seen a deck like this before. So we have 4 colors of mana, Aether Vial, Filigree Familiar. I'm not exactly sure what to make out of this. So definitely play this fetch land. Get another clue. I mean, I think we just crack it right away. Make sure we get our clue value while they're tapped out. Can't remove it. So how much mana do we have access to? So this will be 5, 6 with this land if we get an untapped land. Seeing as they play Path to Exile, I'm kind of inclined to get a shock. Like, they don't seem that aggressive, so I think that's fine. So get that. Tack in here with my Tireless Tracker. And they can't really block. Well, I mean, yeah, they're not going to profitably block. They can chump block to save some life to get the card off the familiar. I think that's fine. And then I can kind of play it by ear, either crack these clues, play the Collected Company sort of at my leisure, whichever I decide to do. Curious what is happening with my opponent over there. Because Aether Vial and the Filigree Familiar aren't exactly cards that I would put together. So I think they could have counter magic. I'd just rather not risk the Collected Company, or maybe I'm fine with it because I have the Eternal Witness. Maybe I am fine with them countering a Collected Company because I have that Eternal Witness. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to fire it off. I would like to just develop the board a little bit more. I get, mana leaked or nothing. Okay, so take Reflector Mage, Avacyn's Pilgrim. Not a great Collected Company, but we still hit 2 creatures, so that's 2 bodies on the table. We want to play our land, and so this would be the 7th mana. I think I'm just going to play the Mayor of Avabruck, and so pump my team a little bit. So attacking with Tracker, Reflector Mage, Pilgrim. Leave the Noble at home. So this is 5, this is 10. I could crack a clue. I kind of intend on cracking clues anyway, so I think I'll at least crack the first clue just to push another damage with the Tireless Tracker. Here you're seeing just what a card advantage machine Tireless Tracker can be. And then I'll leave this mana up just to make my opponent respect some different cards I could have, like Path to Exile and whatnot. Yeah, I'm just not exactly sure. So they played Path, a couple Aether Vials, and a Filigree Familiar. It's a interesting combination of cards. And like a basic forest, not So body. Okay, so this is maybe like a Hulk Protean Hulk, Revelarch style combo deck, something like that, maybe. I don't know why you'd want Aether Vials in a deck like that, but you know, maybe just giving one of the creatures like the as a flash effect is really good. So I think just by returning the Filigree Familiar, you can force through lethal. So definitely going to do that. So get our clue. Get planes, another clue. Wonder if they maybe. Okay. Play Reflector Mage, bounce the Filigree Familiar, which is, I guess, technically a body double. And then I'm just gonna smash with everything, even the Noble Hierarch. So I have something. 4-drop, a Sower of Temptation. Ooh, that's gonna be alright. But I think they still have to make a block here. Alright. And then I'm going to, I think, Eternal Witness back this Collected Company. I just kind of want to get another body on the table to chump block that Tireless Tracker of mine, which was stolen. And then this is just a nice insurance policy. You could make an argument maybe I really need a path in this situation. I should be trying to crack clues to get a path, but I don't know. I'm not exactly sure. Not exactly sure what's going on here. I mean, it's probably a fairly convoluted creature-based combo. So they crack the clue, so they can body double cost 5, so they can Aether Vial in the body double. Do I want to... Okay, so they're not attacking with that. So I think maybe I want to start with the Collected Company, because if I can bounce their Sower, I get back my Tireless Tracker, and we can go from there. I guess I have 2 Reflector Mages already out. Okay, so Spell Queller. That's going to happen. And I'm going to go ahead and play that. Try to hit a path if I can. And I know there's a body double, and I know they can copy a Filigree Familiar. So they might just have survived this turn cycle. So now we're seeing whoever has the Tireless Tracker is clearly ahead. So I don't remember exactly how this combo would work. So you have okay, Fauna Shaman. We really cannot allow them to untap with a Fauna Shaman. I assume that just kind of pulls the whole combo together, whatever the combo is. Okay, Thalia's Lieutenant is a nice start. Hmm. So I'm inclined to maybe just play like one Heir of the Wilds, a Thalia's Lieutenant, leave up maybe Moorland Haunt, and do that. So all my creatures really need to be blocked so they can put in a body double. Well, no, because they put in the body double, you Filigree Familiar, and they'll go to 3. But maybe I want to force them to use that body double as a Filigree Familiar and not as whatever combo thing that they want it to be. If I wait another turn, this feels very risky to me. So if I attack with all these, I assume Tracker there, probably Queller on 2/2, Sower. Sower on Noble, Tracker on Reflector Mage, Queller on Avacyn's Pilgrim. Fauna Shaman has to go in front of one of these, and that leaves Filigree Familiar in front of Eternal Witness. But I also don't want to just let them survive and then be dead on the backswing, but I guess we'll let them figure out the combat and go from there. So yeah, they're gonna put body double in, make it presumably a Filigree Familiar. So they go up to 3. They're gonna block a bunch of things, but this should trade off a lot of what they have going on, and some of what we have going on as well. So it makes, well, some of these make sense. I would maybe block a little differently, but I see what they're doing. I'm going to get back my Tireless Tracker. They draw a card. I get to keep Spell Queller, so I'll play this, get a clue. I think I want to leave up Moorland Haunt, and I want to maybe be able to crack a clue. I think this is enough on board presence at this point in time. Actually, now I'm thinking I may have played against a deck like this at one other point. I don't remember exactly what they did in order to win, but I remember it being almost like a prison lock style thing happening. Because it's one since over. Let's see, they must be somewhat under the gun with what they're doing. So yeah, I think I want to... Ooh, if they're activating Fauna Shaman, that's probably not a great sign unless they have some sort of creature that can, like, stabilize them. You know, like I would maybe... Okay, so they pitch Voice of Resurgence. Let's see what they pull up. And if it's something like, I don't know, even... They have to be pretty good. Maybe another body double just comes in as a sower, steals the tracker. Guess they have a vial on 5 and a vial on 3, so they put in that. Wonder what else they have. So body double probably as a sower. Sower will take the tracker. I want to get my clue while the clue getting is good. And I mean, they have paths, but at this point, I guess we can conserve our... Don't really need to conserve our number of basics left in the deck. So I want to make a creature token out of this Avacyn's Pilgrim. And I want to draw a card. My clue, okay, Collected Compant, Eternal Witness. So I think I just want to witness back a Reflector Mage and hope that that will do the job. Yes, I would like my Reflector Mage. Put your counter. And then I plan to Reflector Mage probably on the Sower. Ooh, is this a Spell Queller? It is. Alright. Spell Queller is fairly good in this scenario. So I think I just want to attack with everything but the Noble. See what the opponent does. Maybe I want to see if I can find another Reflector Mage, because that just kind of busts things wide open. It also wouldn't allow them to block with a few different things. So we'll do that. Maybe I should have done this. Ugh, those weren't very good. Oh, maybe I should have done that before combat rather than after attacks. But the Lieutenant is a little bigger now. We have some chump blockers if they do a return attack. I mean, everything has to block something, and their creatures aren't sized to where it's going to be very... I guess they can let this Spirit through, but like this has to be blocked, that has to be blocked. I would probably, if I were them, they should block this Tireless Tracker on this Heir of the Wilds so that it just dies. I think, well, no, I guess if they're blocking, this might be okay for them. I'm not 100%, but I mean, I am going to get back a few cards. So like this Reflector Mage is going to bounce. Actually, I don't think I care if they have that. I just don't want them to be able to do more things with this Fauna Shaman. And then I can cast my Collected Compant. Hopefully find some good stuff. Okay, yeah, this is why you play the deck. Just Collected Compant into double Thalia's Lieutenant when you have a board full, like what I was saying in the deck tech about how, you know, sometimes Noble Hierarch and Eternal Witness being human is just gratuitous. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. These Noble Hierarchs are going to get huge, and so is this Eternal Witness. So I assume they're assembling some sort of combo. They're going to have to do it this turn, I think, because now the board is assembled. Okay, cool. Cool. So what do I want to bring in against this particular deck? So they did have some artifacts, and Reclamation Sage is still a body, so I might want those. It's a fairly drawn-out game, so maybe cut some of the mana guys. I'm not sure if this is necessarily the matchup for Tamiyo, since they don't have a ton of removal. They seem to be a lot of just creatures. Rest in peace, Looks like it does something against some of their creatures, but I mean, as good as like the Eternal Witness buying back things was that game, I kind of feel like I want to leave that avenue open. So I'm going to submit like this, and we shall see how it goes. Kind of wish I had some more answers to a Sower of Temptation. Like they got, I mean, stealing the Tireless Tracker that game was really good for them. Like it shut down my card advantage, and it kind of gave them a little bit. I think they only had, you know, maybe one or two clues, and I had a few more. But you know, if they had no clues and I had all the clues, I think that would have been a bit easier of a game to close out. And I have no idea, you know, how close we came to dying to whatever kind of combo they're trying to assemble. I assume it's something with Revelark and Body Double, and you loop them with some other creature, and somehow that kills me. That's typically how this thing goes. This is not a great hand. I guess the fact that these are 2-man lands, you know, 2 creature lands, makes me inclined to keep, but I'm not super excited about it. Okay. So let's see what we get. Okay, a Collected Company, that's great. Play the Stirring Wildwood, pass. Nothing super interesting just yet. I think I want to maybe keep this fetch land in case I draw one of my Tireless Trackers. And, okay, Voice of Resurgence will be... make Collected Companies more of a sorcery speed thing, but I don't think that's necessarily a problem. Reclamation Sage looking maybe a little bit bad, and they don't have a Vial in their first couple turns, but and they could play like a Filigree Familiar next turn, and that would be an okay exchange to get a Filigree Familiar with a Reclamation Sage. Attacks. It's fine. Right, so what are they? Okay, just... what do we have now? Warden of the First Tree, leaving mana up to pump it. So I think I just want to get this Stirring Wildwood into play. Play this Lieutenant to pump my Mayor. This turns into a 3/3, and this can be done at instant speed. So I can't really attack. This coming turn, I might make a trade with a voice. That's, I don't, doesn't sound like a great thing to be doing. Well, I think I can take one hit just because any human is going to pump this Lieutenant, and then it's not really a trade. Just prevent it from attacking or make them chump attack and turn it into the Elemental. The Elemental doesn't affect... doesn't affect my ability to cast instants on their turn. So I'm going to cast this now, and ooh, that's nice. Okay, so, I mean, definitely Reflector Mage, and then this Eternal Witness is just going to get shut off by the ooze. So maybe makes me want Noble, but that's also questionable. I mean, I could potentially use the extra mana. I guess I'll get the Witness since it's a larger body and force them to use uh, the Ooze activation. They could miss it. Some people get really excited about their F6 value. And probably could have stacked it to make them... Whoa, see? Yeah. It's one of the things with Magic Online is just that, I mean, maybe they just missed it, you know, in terms of it being an ooze and being able to do that, but feels unlikely to me. So this thing's a 3 and it would take 4 mana. So I can definitely attack with this. I'm going to leave the Lieutenant home to threaten a block here on our Warden of the First Tree. So I feel a little bit far ahead because of that punt that the opponent made, but do I want a forest or do I want another? Probably green mana is at a bit of a premium. I can always tap one Wildwood if I decide to activate the other one. I have to say, this is a pretty impressive mana base. Temple Garden, Sunken Rune. So it can... I don't see the disadvantage of blocking here, right? You can't just jump levels. Like, you have to activate... You have to put the 4 mana in before you can put the 5 mana in. I think this is fine. Maybe he's going to have... Maybe the opponent's going to have something weird like a Dramoka's Command and just give me the absolute blowout. Oh, that's also... Maybe I should have double blocked? I guess I didn't think that this was going to shrink, but I think that's fine, given that I have the Collected Company. Probably would have been better to double block. Now I have a lot of mana. I didn't play the Ooze, so I kind of want to activate the Moorland Haunt while I can, and maybe also Collected Company. Ooh, lots of choices. So this looks like Heir of the Wilds and Eternal Witness, I think. So Eternal Witness will get back my Collected Company. And Heir of the Wilds threatens to trade with the Warden. And at this point, would I trade? I really don't want to trade with that voice. If anything, I can make a token, go to the Heir with the Moorland Haunt token, and go from there. I think that seems like a reasonable strategy. So I know they'll turn this voice into a token, so that'll be, you know, the 2 creatures they have on board plus the Ooze that I know is in hand. If they have any other creatures, it's just going to get a little bit out of control. Okay, so Aether Vial finally gives us a target for our Reclamation Sage. I want to activate this in response. Get rid of that Reflector Mage so that my opponent doesn't have any Ooze food, and I mean, if they attack with a Warden, I have a pretty easy block with the Heir. Attacks with Voice of Resurgence. How do I feel about trading now? I don't really want to, simply because it lets the Ooze grow. So I think I'll let it through this time. Although, I mean, instant speed Collected Company would be nice, but kill the Aether Vial with that. And, I think given the strength of the cards that I put on my bottom, I'm going to fetch and then, let's see, how's my color? Just Temple Garden. Fetch and then do the Collected Company. Not the best, but at least this Noble Hierarch is going to make my spirit attack a little bit more potent. So 8-turn clock, I guess. I'm going to have to play a little bit faster. I really need to make sure that I win this one, otherwise I'll lose the match. So I'll try to maybe commentate less, play a little bit more. What is this? Silent Arbiter. Okay. Well, I think that's fine since my plan right now is Spirit Beatdown, and I have a Death Toucher to play on defense. Kind of want to... I'll fire off this Collected Company. See what I get. So Heir and Mayor. I guess just attack with this spirit. Tapped. I want to keep the fetches in hand in case I end up with access to a Tireless Tracker, so I can get some more clue. Probably won't even play this land. Save it in case that happens. So this is quite a toolbox of cards my opponent has put together. So I'm going to trade off my Reclamation Sage. And I guess since I have another Heir of the Wilds, I feel alright about this. So Revelarch is, I mean, it's going to be good here. So I'm going to exile. Well, actually, I kind of want to get back this Reclamation Sage to blow up the Silent Arbiter. And in order to do that, I need to leave it in the graveyard. So I'll just untap. A path would be real good right now, I think. So Eternal Witness. I think I want to just blow up that Silent Arbiter with the Reclamation Sage, and then maybe just swing out. Is that crazy? Probably not. So that's gonna shrink. That's gonna shrink the size of that elemental. It's gonna force a lot of blocks. Yeah, I'm just going to attack and let the opponent figure this out. My Heir of the Wilds are going to get a little bit bigger on their attack. It's the Ferocious trigger. If anything, this will help pull my time back from that disparity. I mean, there's a lot that needs to be blocked here. Then I have one breeding pool left in my deck, so I can maybe activate the Moorland Haunt right again. You know, fetch shock down to 7, activate Moorland Haunt. Whatever creature dies. So they go down to 3. Turn Silent Arbiter. Yeah, I'm gonna fetch and shock. Breeding pool. Get my breeding pool. Yep. And I want to exile probably Eternal Witness. Okay, so this builds me enough spirits. I have Noble Hierarch, another Noble Hierarch off the top allows me to well, I guess they're gonna gain life, so it doesn't really let me do what I want. But I can maybe chump block with a spirit if I have to. That Silent Arbiter is pretty good this game. I guess I still have, you know, a decent clock going with these spirits with the Exalted trigger. So that's, I guess, the plan. It's funny how Silent Arbiter and the Exalted sort of feed off each other. No more than one creature can attack, but that's all I really want to attack with right now. One creature. One creature in the air. And then if the opponent goes to activate the ooze, I can, on my creature, I'll activate the Moorland Haunt. If they go to activate on their creature, which I don't know if they will, they have Revelark and Body Double in their deck, I'll for sure activate Moorland Haunt, getting my creature out of the yard. So attack, send a spirit across. That Exalted trigger. I'll just play this Mayor of Avabruck. So this also kind of forces some action. Pumps the Warden. What are they going to ooze? Yeah, I'm going to take this. Opportunity to get a creature out of my yard. Well, they can't really do anything about it. Okay, so cards I want, Collected Company, the other Reclamation Sage to blow up that Silent Arbiter. Those would all be good. What is this? Body double on Revelarch. So I think if they have like a sacrifice outlet, this is really good for them. I might actually switch up so now that they have a flyer, and instead of attacking with a spirit token, attack with Thalia's Lieutenant. Let's see, also, if I've gone through how many, say, I still have a lot of Reflector Mages too in the deck. So those will also definitely play in this situation. What do we got? Okay, Noble Hierarch. So I don't think I want to allow them to get Voice of Resurgence. So maybe I just still attack with a flyer? So if they kill the Revelarch, so the Revelarch is... Does the Revelarch that's actually a body double allow them to get back body double? I'm not sure. But I think what I want to do is... I don't really want to allow them to trade with the Lieutenant. So this would be 9. They could put a lot of power in front of it. Or no, this would be 10. They can put 4, 7, 8, 9. They could put 10 power, but that puts a lot of pressure on them. I think I also want to be able to leave back enough spirits to trade for the Revelarch on defense. So I'm going to make this attack. I don't know exactly how this works, because when the Revelarch dies, does it have to see that body double in the graveyard? Like, can it get itself back? That feels weird, but the rules might work, or the timing of it might work, that they can do that. So they just snap block, so I assume that this means they're getting back a body double and... Or, yeah, so they are able to do that. It is... So all that attack did was just get them a Warden of the First Tree into play that they wouldn't have had otherwise. So really want, again, Reclamation Sage. See, this guy will flip. Ooh, a Path to Exile. Does that do it? Okay, I'm going to pass the Revelarch, attack with the Spirit, have Exalted triggers. Hopefully this does the job. They're probably sitting back on Spellquellers, though. Ooh, no, they didn't. So they don't have anything to get back. And hopefully I don't regret and wish that I had done this to the Arbiter. I don't know if I will. Let's see. Is it going to connect? Come on. Yeah, and it did. We got there. Nice. With only a minute and a half to spare. That was an interesting match. I mean, their deck was really, interesting. A lot of interesting cards, interactions I wasn't, necessarily sure about. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. So I hope you enjoyed this match with Bant Humans in Modern. So this is my audition to be a new content provider here at MagicGatheringStrat. Been a viewer for quite a while. I've submitted some different things to the Pauper Gauntlet and so forth, and I would really love the opportunity to be able to stick around and make content here, maybe once or twice a week and, show you some of the things that I do in Modern or things I do in Pauper, maybe branching out into some other formats, both trying to do things that are a little bit more, competitive tournament focused as well as just trying to have some fun. And I think there's also, a lot of room that's occupying both that space. Like, a lot of these Bant decks, we don't see necessarily this Bant Humans. This is maybe a little bit off the radar, but I think it's still a really competitive deck. So I hope you enjoyed the match, and I hope I will be seeing a little bit more of you. So take care, Stratters.